What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kyle in the Wild. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded. Been super busy with school, have a couple more finals left, and I'm going to be good to go and able to do whatever I want, which is pretty exciting. So today what we're going to talk about is how to rig swim baits and the ones that I do like to use. So if you think about it, any fishery that you go to around the country, any season, it doesn't matter, they are predominantly feeding on some form of bait fish. Whether that be threadfin shad, gizzard shad, gobies, it doesn't matter. It's some form of bait fish. It doesn't matter what season, they're always eating this thing. So that's one reason I like throwing the swim bait. And another reason is this thing is super versatile. You can rig it so many different ways. You can rig it on a jig head, you can rig it weedless, you can rig it on an Alabama rig. You can just rig it to suit your needs wherever you are, whenever, where. Alright. Whenever, wherever you are. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple different ways that I like to rig this thing and how to do it. Alright guys, so let's start out. I'm going to show you my favorite way to rig this guy. So we got a couple different hooks today. We have just a regular weighted EWG hook. We have a weighted swim bait hook with a spring lock on it. And we have the ever popular Owner Flashy Swimmer. So let's start out with this regular weighted EWG hook. So if you just have the basics where you are, you don't have access to any of the spring lock hooks or anything, more than likely this is always going to be available. So I'll start out with this. So what you're going to do is take this guy, go right into the nose, almost to the bend, and come out straight out the bottom right there. So this is what it's going to look like. So once you have your hole like that, go ahead and pull this back out, and you're going to take this and go back into the bottom of it like that. And then you're going to come up out the top right there. So now you have this guy right here. So what do you do next? So what you do next is you're just going to take the hook and see where it lines up with the swim bait. So you can see we're lined up right here. So we're going to just go ahead and pinch right there to mark our spot. We're going to bring our hook down, go in to the hollow belly in the middle, and I'm going to pop out, sorry, you got to stay in frame. I'm going to pop out right there where our fingers were. And that's what that's going to look like. See if we can get it to focus. It's going to be just like that. And another thing I didn't mention, if you are using this, because you have to go through the nose first, you're going to want to go ahead and rig this thing before you tie a knot on it. So go ahead and make your hole, push it back through, rig it up, and then tie it. So let's just go ahead and go with the weighted swim bait hook, the Owner Flashy Swimmer. So that's the good thing about these spring locks, is if your swim bait gets torn up, you know, you can just unscrew it, throw on another one. You don't have to retie your hook. So let me show you how this works. So what we have is just take this pin right here, go right in the middle of the nose with the pin, screw it in, so we got right there, we have it screwed in all the way up to the hook. And you're going to do just like the other one. You're going to see where the hook lines up in the bait, pinch your fingers right there and mark it, and then take your hook and go through right there where you have marked. And then boom, that's what you're left with right there. So the good thing about this is if you're fishing really thick vegetation, you can go ahead and take this hook point and bury that hook point in there further. Or if you're just trying to keep it weedless and just relatively weedless, like you're fishing it through trees and stuff, you can go ahead and just rest that hook on top of the swim bait and that'll give you a lot better ratio when the fish bites. So next up we have an open hook technique, which is good for when the fish are deeper and you're not fishing around as much structure and you're not going to get hung up as much. First thing we have is just a basic jig head, and we also have the fish head spin. So it's pretty simple to rig this up. Again, what you're going to do is you're going to lay the hook by your swim bait right here. Put the nose of the swim bait up to the jig head and hold that there. And you can kind of see that our hook's going to be about a 1/4 inch past that dot. That's where the hook's going to come out. So again, just take your hook, come in through the top here. And we're coming out a little bit past that dot. And boom, right there. We have a perfectly rigged swim bait. So a little tip for this is you can take a dab of super glue and put it between the swim bait and the jig head, and that bad boy is not going to go anywhere. But again, I said this is pretty effective when you're fishing deeper water, trying to get down there, because you're able to use a bigger jig head. And works the same for the flashy swimmer. You're just going to rig it just like that, like we did the jig head. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you my 2 favorite swim baits. My first favorite swim bait being a hollow body. I really like hollow bodies because I feel like they're the most versatile of the swim baits. As you can see, this looks ultra realistic and has a great action. You can see how thin this tail is right here, so that's going to move in any type of water. Even when it gets cold and the plastic gets hard, this tail is going to swing like crazy. And again, you can rig it with this jig head. You can rig it weedless on an Alabama rig. And the only really other swim bait that I use sometimes is this guy right here. This is a Strike King Rage swimmer. Other brands are the Kitex or Eco Pro tungstens. They also work really well, and I mainly use these for really saltwater fishing. They also have a very good tail action, and when I want to throw them on Alabama rigs, because it gets kind of expensive putting a bunch of hollow body swim baits on an Alabama rig. Alright guys, so that was it. I hope that was helpful to y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'll definitely try to respond as much as possible. So leave me a like, subscribe, and I appreciate the support, guys. Catch y'all next time on Kyle in the Wild. Thank you.